AITA for getting someone fired because they pretended to know the language? English is not my first language. I, 27F, decided to apply for my dream job. I have met all the criteria and one of them was to be proficient in my native language, Russian, which I am, since I've grown up in the country speaking and writing in it and have finished school and university where obviously all the subjects are taught in Russian, except English and French, German language classes. I ended up securing the interview with this place and needed to demonstrate the knowledge of Russian. So the person who did the interview started asking me questions in it. However, I could barely understand her. Not only the accent made it incredibly difficult, but the fact that she couldn't build a sentence, but also used incorrect forms of the words, and the pronunciation was totally wrong too. In short, it sounded as if she was randomly putting the words in Google Translate and was trying to repeat them over. I have answered all her questions. However, I've also noticed she barely made any notes. I decided to let it pass and wait for a verdict. After about 3 months of chasing and silence, I got an email saying I wasn't successful, and the reason was that they believed my knowledge of Russian language was poor and insufficient for the job and not up to their standards, according to the interviewer. Of course I was confused, since the lady who interviewed me could barely speak the language herself. So I have decided to leave feedback about my experience on one of the job sites, which was made to share info about working at the job and interview process. My review received a fair amount of traction, and last week Monday I ended up getting a call from the higher-ups, who listened to my feedback and opened the investigation. On Friday I have found out the lady who interviewed me was dismissed. She and her friends were messaging me on social media calling an asshole because this job was her only source of income and was struggling. I am now feeling guilty about this and feel like I was an asshole for writing about my experience. AITA? NTA. She is scamming her company by pretending to speak a language that she has minimal fluency in. Imagine how many other people she's turned down for jobs. NTA. You missed out on a wonderful sounding job due to a person who clearly wasn't up to scratch and had no business interviewing someone fluent in the language. AITA. You were denied a job based on a lie that wasn't yours. That's not on you. It could have been your only source of income too. NTA. She isn't qualified to do her job and lied about the results of the interview. The business that employs her requires a knowledge of the language, and she's pulling the wool over their eyes. Not your concern. And I hope you're able to interview again. NTA. She shouldn't have pretended to know a language she wasn't fluent in. And it's her own fault for being sacked. She could have easily had avoided this by not pretending and having someone else do the interview that did know Russian. NTA. She and her friends were messaging me on social media calling an asshole because this job was her only source of income and was struggling. And there were probably struggling people who could have used that job who she denied. If the job was really so important to her, and she absolutely had to lie to keep her source of income, then in her spare time after getting this new job responsibility, she should have been getting language lessons, Rosetta Stone or something else online, instead of relying on whatever translate thing she was using. NTA. She was being dishonest and threw you under the bus to save herself. She got what she deserved. I'm sorry you lost out on the job. NTA. It sounds to me like she denied you a job opportunity because she was afraid that you would know that she cannot speak Russian. And for that, she is a bad person and deserves to be fired. NTA. This is really one of those situations where what's good for the goose is good for the gander. This Lady denied you a job because she was incompetent at hers. She can clearly go lie and get another job somewhere else. NTA. Her poor language skills made you miss out on your dream job. That's not on you. You were simply being honest. You might want to email that same higher up to see if you can re-interview, seeing as this wasn't your fault. Good luck. NTA. If she's getting paid for a skill she claims to have them, she needs to possess that skill. You lost out on a job. BC. She lied. NTA. You didn't get her fired. She got herself fired. NTA. It's not your fault that she didn't have the skills to do her job successfully and lied to her employers, causing you to lose out on a potentially good job. NTA. You were overlooked for a position on the grounds of your inexperience or lack of knowledge. All the while, the person who was the judge of your ability was the one who was lacking. If it wasn't you, it would have been someone else. This person's chickens just came home to roost. NTA. She took a job she shouldn't have, and the consequence of that is that the team suffers. She would have been found out eventually. Not only that, but she specifically is the reason you didn't get the job, because she was afraid she would have been found out had you been hired. She was trying to keep a job she didn't deserve, leaving other more qualified people to suffer the consequences. I hope they reconsider your application. And don't feel bad about her. I'm sure she'll find another scam soon enough. NTA. The only reason you didn't get the job was because she knew you were fluent in Russian and that she was lying. She was trying to make sure she didn't get exposed, and it backfired on her. Oh well. Sounds like she played the lying game and won her prize accordingly. NTA. NTA. You didn't get her fired, she did by lying. I mean, can you imagine how many prospective employees she's probably passed on because of her lack of knowledge? If the harassment from the ex-employee and her friends don't stop, I would either go back the company and explain what's happening, and if that didn't work, got to the police. NTA. She lied about her credentials. You gave honest feedback. Did she think she was going to get away with this for long when interviewing Russian-speaking candidates? What was the end goal here for her? The fact she's now reaching out on social media to shake you is beyond ridiculous. I would say sign her up for a free trial of Duolingo and leave it at that. But I'm petty. NTA. Was fired for dishonesty and an inability to do her job. That is her fault, not yours.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. AmITheAsshole is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.